I'm Katie Wells, host of the Maximized Minimalist podcast. I escaped the hamster wheel of modern-day motherhood, overwhelmed by clutter and buried under the mental load. Now I live in a home that feels calm, manageable, and made for real life. I have margin in my days, energy for who matters most, and time for slow mornings and silly dance parties in the kitchen with my family. With over 5 million listens, the show has helped women around the world turn their homes into their happy place. Around here, we simplify for more peace, more presence, and more joy. We choose grace over guilt and progress over perfection. And we believe your home should give back more than it takes. I'm here to help you do the same. Come along with me and my guests as we share the real stories, habits, and strategies that help you lighten the load from the inside out. Pull up a seat, friend, and let's do this together. Ready, set, simplify. What's up, friend? Today's a shorty episode, and I think this story is going to give you so much clarity, either as you look at your own stuff, or perhaps maybe the title of this episode, Legos, is inspiring you to maybe use this to support your kiddo, or maybe a partner in letting other things go. You can apply this to so many people and so many things. So to tee us up, my son, Levi, who has also been known on this podcast to be my rock collector over the years. He's also been my Lego kid, and he just turned 9. And when we walked into his bedroom the other day, he said something, I'm telling you, I never thought I'd hear him say this. He said, "Mom, I don't need my Legos anymore." Like, I almost fell over. My jaw dropped. Like, I felt like a cartoon where the jaw just dropped the floor and like my tongue was hanging out. Not really, but you know what I'm saying? And he was like, "Mom, why are you looking at me that way?" I was shocked. To me, it felt like it came out of nowhere. But you'll see when I share these 3 different things in just a minute, how it didn't come out of nowhere. So again, he's always been my Lego kid. And throughout the years, they've just sat on his shelving system. And that's okay. We all enjoy things differently. But in true Katie fashion, you know, beauty and clutter is in the eye of the beholder. So to me, building Legos and having the finished set sit there and not playing with them felt like clutter to me because it was just a one and done. And that's something I've never loved about like different kits. Like, we've tried other subscription kits you get sent to your house, like your kiddo builds them. I know Kiwi's really popular. And that's a problem, by the way. And if you're nodding your head, you already know, like, a lot of us parents experience with like these build it sets, and then there's nothing to do with them, or your child isn't interested in them. So over the years, I tried to get him to play with the Legos after he built the sets. Like, I modeled, like, here's how we play. Here's how we can use our imagination and, you know, like all these things. And he was just like not interested. You could tell Levi, he is the kid that likes a job well done. He liked the building. He liked snapping the pieces together. And once he finished a set, that was it. And so again, it's not that you can't gain enjoyment or pleasure from collections just sitting there. But to me, I was like, this is clutter. So of course, early on, if you're a listener of the show, you know what I had to put in place pretty early on. For anyone who collects anything, we need physical boundaries, right? So years ago, I said, here's a shelving system. This is your physical boundary for Legos. When it starts to fill up, you have to let stuff go. And he's really honored that pretty well over the years. So of course, over the years, again, I'd bring up donating from time to time. Even if his physical boundary wasn't full, I'd be like, hey, you know, I noticed that you're not using these. Maybe you want to give them to some kids who don't have Legos. And every time it was like a firm no. He wouldn't even listen to me. In fact, one day he put his hands over his ears because he's like, I don't want to listen. I'm not interested in what you have to say. Like, I never pushed it. I would just mention it on occasion, right? And then again, to go from being a Lego kid to all of a sudden, it seemed like he changed his mind, felt like that light switch. And what struck me is this: it didn't happen because I forced it. It didn't happen because of some magical speech I gave. It happened because of these 3 shifts that completely changed how he saw those Legos and the value he assigned to them. All right. This is where we can all glean some goodness. Like, this is so good to witness and to see these shifts happening in his mind. So let's talk about them. Shift number 1 was space. So Levi realized that the Lego shelf wasn't neutral anymore. And what do I mean by that? So again, he didn't use the Legos on the shelves, but they weren't really bothering him. They weren't giving him necessarily pleasure. It felt kind of like, it's just there, right? Then he decided, hey, Mom, I want to start painting. And what I would really like to do is move these Legos out, turn this shelf into a place to hold my paints and my canvases and my new hobby. And so then he realized in that moment that those Legos were actually blocking him from doing something else that he wanted to do in his room. So it was no longer a fun or cute display of Legos. It was like, this is getting in my way, right? Okay, so shift number 1 was space. Shift number 2, and I think once that clicked for him, the Legos like immediately lost their power. Like they weren't treasures anymore. He could see that they weren't serving him and they were costing him space and the ability to use his room the way he wanted to. And then the last piece, around that same time, there was a local Lego drive for the Children's Hospital here. And my friend reached out and she said, hey, there's this opportunity. If Levi has any extra Legos, would he be open to donating them? And so suddenly he could connect the dots. So the third one is impact. Over the years, when we talked about donating, it wasn't to anyone specific other than, hey, what about kids who don't have Legos? But now he saw, not only am I ready to let these go, I also have an opportunity to donate to kids in hospitals who, man, could really benefit from these more than I am. And that gave the act of letting go a whole new layer of meaning. And I think cemented his readiness to let go. Again, this is all my interpretation as both a declutter expert and mother, and someone who really just understands the holistic side, like the holistic meaning and aspect of decluttering. So here is why this matters. So we had the space, the value, and the impact. The exact same thing happens to us with our clutter and our stuff too. We hold on tightly for years, swearing something has value. I'm going to read those books one day or wear those clothes one day. Then one day the light switch flips, or so it seems, and we feel ready. And it's not because we got strong enough. It's because we see that differently. So I want to ask you, where might these same shifts be happening in your home, or where could they happen? Maybe it's the treadmill in your bedroom that used to represent good intentions, but now feels like it's stealing space from your cozy reading corner. Maybe it's the overflowing mug collection that once felt really fun, but now means you can't even grab the ones you actually love. Or maybe it's the bin of kids' clothes in the basement that are keeping you from storing the things you actually need to store in the basement. And just like with Levi and the Lego drive, maybe the last piece you need is impact, right? Connecting the dots. Who else could benefit from this thing you are not using? A local shelter, a friend starting fresh, a donation drive in your town. Sometimes seeing that impact is what cements that decision and just makes it so much easier to say yes to letting go. So here's your takeaway. Don't beat yourself up if you're not ready to let something go yet. Readiness, really, it doesn't come from willpower. It comes from perspective and the value and meaning we assign our things. So today, just notice, ask yourself, where has the value of something already changed for me? And who else could it serve? Because when you can spot those shifts, the space, the value, and the impact, letting go gets so much easier. All right, friend, we'll see you next week. Ready, set, declutter. Bye.